All right. I think this is actually day 8, I think. But I'm stopping on my RAM or ribbon cable issue, and then I'm going to focus on actually cleaning up the cabinet and taking out the marquee light fixture and troubleshooting that, taking out the speaker grill and replacing that broken thing. And I think that's what I'm going to do next. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to film. I just want to, I'll film a little bit of it, but I'm going to clean the sides as much as I can, and then work on the monitor while I wait for my ribbon cables to come in. So, all right. So I took out the fluorescent light fixture, and these wires were soldered on here. And one of the things you can do on these is check the magnetic ballast for continuity. So I have my ohm meters. You should get about 30 ohms, and on a continuity test that would register. So let me turn it to auto, and this ballast is 9.2 thousand ohms. So obviously that's not right. Actually, these magnetic ballasts I don't even think are manufactured in the US anymore, so it's getting more difficult to get these. I got these off of eBay, like a pack of 6 of them, which should last me a while. But this is what it should read when you should get anywhere from like 20 ohms to around 30 ohms. So this is like 32 ohms. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to replace this ballast and put a new starter in, which I already tried, actually. I tried the starter and a bulb, and it wasn't working, which is risky because a bad ballast can actually blow the bulb itself. So let's go ahead and do that. And be right back. Okay, I had everything assembled. I'm busy watching football, so Saints just beat the Steelers, unfortunately for Steelers fans. But anyway, there was some oxidation on this metal plate, and I went ahead and sanded it and cleaned it up, cleaned up the wires. I only put twisty nuts on here. That's fine. I think I don't mind doing that for the light fixtures, just because it's not going to get touched a lot, and it'll be pretty stable. The other thing I have is this. I have a whole bunch of little power cords with like different connectors and things that I can plug in. This one right here, if you can see that over, let me take it off the, there you go. And we zoom out. This little connector right here, basically I have a ground clip just attached to the metal, and because I just want to power this on the bench, and then I just have 2 of these, probably 0.93s or something. No, I think this might be 0.8 something, whatever that is, and just plugged it in there, neutral. It doesn't really matter. In one of my other videos, I think I mentioned like trying to wire this up with a long wire going to hot or whatever. It's just a loop, so I don't think it matters at all which wire connects to hot, which one connects to neutral. So I just wired it up and put in the original fluorescent bulb, and then we'll just go ahead and make sure I don't have any shorts or anything. That's the only thing about doing this on the bench. Plug it in and see what we get. Alright, fluorescent light works even with the original light. So a lot of times a bad fluorescent ballast will either allow all the AC voltage to go through, and that way it'll burn out the light. So if there's not enough resistance or whatever, I don't know, there's a copper coil in there, and the magnetic field, I guess, does something with electricity. But if it's bad, it'll burn out the bulb. It'll also, if you start hearing buzzing, or if the bulb is not illuminating to what your expectations are, it's often not a starter or the bulb, it's often the ballast. So it's always good to kind of put a new ballast in these games before, as you're like, I mean, I don't do it to all of them. When they're broken is when I do it, but a lot of people will just replace the ballast. So eventually we're going to have to get away from magnetic ballast though, I guess. So fluorescent light is fixed, and we'll put it back in the game and onto the speaker grill. I just put in the fluorescent light fixture. I remounted it. It's looking good. But the mirror, the adjustment mirror, and you can see it there probably, is pretty bad off. I already started working on it and cleaning it. It was super filthy. All right, so anyway, going to treat this side with sandpaper, try to get the rust off and oxidation or whatever corrosion you want to call that. And then the mirror side, I'm actually going to polish with some chrome polish, I think. So going to put that on the bench and then be right back. I wasn't expecting to do this, but the thing was filthy and the mirror is totally messed up. So all right, there's the mirror side. You can see the corrosion or whatever. That looks pretty bad. And then I already cleaned up this side here. It looks a lot better. I just sanded it. It's not perfect, you know what I mean, but should go for quite a while, I guess, without getting too screwed up. So all right, I'm going to actually use this extreme metal polish, which is kind of cool. Comes in this pink, and it'll turn black as you rub this crap on it. It's like in these little cotton swabs. So you just rip off a little piece. If I can do that with one hand. I'll cut that out. But you wrap off a little piece here, and then you just rub it on, and you can see it'll get like discolored. So we're just going to polish this up, and then see how much better we can get it. All right, you can see I actually did both sides, and you can see how it turns brown and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and buff it out with a clean little cloth there, and then we'll be back again. All right, I cleaned this up and I polished it. It looks pretty decent at certain angles and stuff, but it definitely has some fine, scratches and stuff in it. Let's see, that side's pretty decent too, but I think it had a little bit of rust, and that's why maybe some scratches went into it or something. I'm not sure, or that metal polish isn't the best. If this was something visible in the game, I would actually go and get some mirror polish and try to buff it out and make it perfect, but I'm not worried about it. All right, let's put it in the game. Okay, got the mirror in there, and you can kind of see, well, maybe fingerprints, but some swirl marks and stuff like that. But that is so you can slide the monitor out and adjust it and look at it. But while I'm waiting on ribbon cables, I also kind of just cleaned, Windexed and simple green all the inside, cleaned everything up right there, got the Marquee light installed, and then I had some of these Armor All wipes and stuff, so I figured I'd wipe down, after cleaning it, wipe down the monitor surround, or I call it the monitor surround. I guess it's not technically, is it a bezel? It's not the glass bezel. I don't know what you call that, but anyway, looks a lot better. You can take these out. There's some screws there, but you have to kind of bend it and stuff, and it's pretty rigid plastic, and I didn't want to risk breaking it. I have taken them out before, but it's kind of it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, and it's good enough. I can clean it inside while it's mounted, so. All right, so a little bit of Armor All. Let's get the speaker grill done, and then at least have our Marquee back in. I ordered some buttons from Arcade Shop, some replacement buttons, and some joystick rebuild kits. I might get the Zero Play kit as well, I'm not sure. And while I wait on all that stuff, I gotta figure out, kill some time. So, all right, I'll film some. All right, so I went into my box of parts, and I think the guy's name is Winslow on Cloth, that sells these reproduction, and these are metal instead of plastic grates. I actually had two Robotron size ones. I don't know why. I had a Defender and a Robotron and a Make Tracks, because I do have a Robotron project. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyway, probably had it for a couple years, and now I'm going to get to use it to fix that screen right there, which is just plastic. Never put one of these on before, so I guess I'll disassemble I might take the brackets off just to clean them up, and the speaker, make sure it's all clean and everything. It is a 4 ohm speaker. It looks like it's about, what is that, 5 inches or 4.5 inches or something like that, round. I might take that off just to look at it, and then I have to take this bracket off right here. And then there's some staples that is holding that plastic part in. So I don't know if people staple these in or how they mount these things, or if they're just fit on there so tight you don't have to worry about it. So we'll have to research that as well. All right, I'll be right back. All right, went ahead and cleaned up this speaker mount, removed everything, cleaned it, light sanding and paint, and here's that reproduction Robotron, or if it's Joust or Robotron, so it's just going to go in like this. I'm going to have to work it in there a little bit because it's definitely a tight fit. And then also cleaned up the Marquee brackets. They're not perfect, but I'm not going to bother painting them. There was definitely a lot of gunk in the channel that the Marquee actually fits in. Probably can't see that, but it's all cleaned up now. And cleaned up the sanded, light sanding, just to get some of the corrosion or oxidation or whatever starting to rust and stuff like that off of these, and clean those up. And then we'll put everything back. The only downside is the speaker is definitely busted. I took it off, and you can see right there that the cone is jacked up. So ordered a new one, another part that I'm gonna have to wait on, but not a big deal. So all right, I'll be back in a bit with some more progress. This is after day 9, but a continuation of day 8. So it's day 8/10, I guess. I'm trying to keep these days straight. But anyway, got my package a few days ago, actually, from, I think, Steven at Arcade Shop. Got this is the got some buttons, joystick rebuild kit, and I believe a 6-inch speaker. So a brand new speaker there, and I had to actually put this back together so I could actually hear sounds while I was troubleshooting. But now we're going to mount this speaker up and put it back in the cabinet. When I ended up, I don't think I filmed it, but when I don't think this thing's so tight, the speaker grill, that I just kind of banged it in there as best I could get it. It's not completely flush, maybe, or it is. It's as good as it's going to get, and I mounted the brackets back on and everything like that. So, but I don't think you actually need it. It's so damn tight. I'm not even going to bother putting any nails or staples in there. This thing is not coming off, no, unless you pry it off. So, all right, let me mount the speaker like this. Hook it back up, desolder the wires, solder them back up into the right spot. Luckily, this is marked with a positive and a negative, and we're just going to do the same thing. Actually, this one's not marked, is it? I'm going to test, I'm going to figure out, verify that this is positive. This should be positive, but I'm going to verify it using a battery. I got a video on that I'll link to here. All right, be right back. All right, have everything back together. I actually added, this was ripped off, and I put that there. The ground, I'm not sure if this ground goes here. I'm going to have to figure that out inside the cabinet. And this is positive, actually. It is marked. I went over it with some black marker. It was marked, and I did use a 9-volt battery just to check, to verify that. So, all right, just one thing real quick. I did have the original bulb in there, but you can see that it's kind of dark at the ends. Also, when we were powering it up in the earlier, and so I'm going to keep this bulb as a test bulb. But I happen to have some F14 T12 right there. I can't remember where I got these from. So, but this is a brand new bulb, and it's better to have, if you're going, if you're going to do it, just replace all of it, because a bad bulb can stress the magnetic transformer. dang, what are you supposed to call that? No, I can't think of it. But anyway, you know, neither one is good. A bad bulb can stress the transformer, or a transformer can burn out a bulb. Bad transformer can burn out a bulb. So, all right, anyway, I have everything hooked up. It's a ballast, not a transformer. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Anyway, everything's connected. That's where those, I believe that's where those ground straps go. And brand new from Winslow. Got a nice little speaker cover that's on there. We'll fire it up, make sure the light works, and then we're all set to power it on. I just want to film it so you can see what a brand new, you know, starter, ballast, and light should look like when it comes on. So, not a ton of flickering, just some initial, no big black marks at either side. And that's the, I bet you can tell on camera, I bet that the light is definitely, well, it's kind of messed up, isn't it? Further away I get, it looks brighter. Anyway, all right, let's put there we go. I cleaned this up too. I didn't really go to town on it, but it looks good enough. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not trying to restore this thing. I'm just trying to get everything working. Anyway, speaker. Let's see. Hopefully it worked. Oh, I haven't hooked up the speaker yet. All right, there we go. So I went ahead also and put on the glass bezel. I think earlier in the video series I said that where I couldn't think of where this came from, but I think it came from Arcade Shop. I will say it's tight on this particular Joust cabinet. It is tight to get it in there, so it definitely took some effort to get it back in there without shattering the damn thing. But everything's in there. That monitor still needs, that's a track and field monitor, so I need to put a monitor in there. And then there's our marquee. So some small progress today, nothing troubleshooting wise, but just getting it back together and fully working. So got to rebuild the joysticks, figure out the buttons. I also have from Arcade Shop, I bought the piece of plastic molding that goes at the back of the control panel and rests against here. So I need to put that on with some you know, cushion tape or double-sided tape, not double-sided tape, but some weather stripping or something like that that rests against the marquee, the bezel. All right, so I think that's it, and work on the sound, but we're close. Speakers hooked up. Got full sounds because I'm using the Robotron soundboard right now, but not for much longer. Be back in a little bit. So one more shot here. With the one thing is the marquee light. You can see how it illuminates. It illuminates the control panel. A lot of people talk about that. Williams designed it. There's a little bit of a gap back here, and you can see how it illuminates the control panel, which is pretty nice. I like that. All right. I was watching the video before I posted it and stuff. I was editing the video, and I noticed that I had the speaker, when I reinstalled it, I actually had it turned with the speaker wires facing the marquee light, and it should be facing to the right of the cabinet, and that gives you actually a little bit more slack on the line. So I actually did unscrew it. I didn't remove the whole thing. I could do it while it's sitting in there, but I just wanted to mention that I did catch that while I was reviewing the video, and I fixed it. So, all right, I'm going to post this in a few minutes.